Afternoon and good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel and Coffee Stream episode 439. Today is Wednesday and it is Wednesdays with Skep, and Skep should be along momentarily. I just wanted to start and not be late starting the show, so I figured I would go ahead and go live. And Skep, as I said, should be here momentarily. Come on here. There we go. So, yesterday night, Pincalo and I attempted to see if Streamlabs OBS for Mac has improved at all. And they absolutely have taken some steps. There's Mr. Skep. There's Mr. Skep. Hello, Mr. Skep.
Hey, I'm sorry I'm late.
It's okay.
Going crazy, and you can hear my phone ringing, and that's my wife. Hang on.
It's okay.
I'll be right back.
It's okay. Everybody has their days. So Streamlabs OBS for Mac updated recently, and I was able to navigate around it with voiceover on. So Pincalo spent some time last night putting in, window capture sources and like all this stuff just to see if it works. And there is still a bunch of issues that we ran into. Mostly that. Hello again.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
My life has just. I tried to do some simple chores this morning. That was my mistake, was getting up and trying to do normal behaviors. I apologize for my somewhat flustered situation.
It's
I was
all right.
trying to get everything put to bed, and it was 11 o'clock, and I was just going to start the stream without me. God damn it, I can't even get to my office.
It's okay.
So I'm just kind of decelerating right now, and I had to get my dog vaccination shots, and there were all kinds of issues, uninteresting issues, but just normal life issues.
Yeah.
Just shit that life throws at you, and then you have to decelerate and say, okay, now we're going to talk about current events and how silly Canada is, and I'm fine. I hope you're having a good day.
I'm all right. I'm just so I was just telling everybody that we're running a bit of a test stream because we were hoping that Streamlabs OBS was going to work because it updated recently.
Yes.
And I was able to navigate around it with voiceover, which was very exciting.
That's kind of cool.
And so Pincalo, spent some time last night going and, putting in, the sources and scene sources, and just to see if it would work properly.
Yeah.
And there are still some issues that, like, mainly the fact that my computer, being about 6 years old, is like, hey, why the fuck are you trying to run all this crap?
Well, that's you actually, put your finger right on it. You probably have a little bit of an underpowered processor, and to run OBS. OBS is kind of a resource pig.
Yeah.
And you need a modern computer.
Yeah, we came to the realization last night that we probably need a studio computer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was hoping that we could use it because it would be cool if I could save some money on StreamYard, right? Like if I could use a program that I didn't have to pay for. But so far we're just gonna still use StreamYard because it works.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. StreamYard is simple. If you just want to get on the air with your friends, it's kind of a no-brainer, and it's so easy that even I can do it. So
Yeah.
I've got a 4-year-old computer. Snippet says their computer, yeah, it was from 2014.
Pink Hollow's got you beat, Snippet. His computer we got when I was pregnant with Alex in 2013.
I've got
so,
some computers here from before 2000.
so yeah,
I've
yeah.
got a laptop that still runs
Oh,
Windows from 1997.
that's funny.
Yep,
We've got a I think it's a 386 or something at the cottage.
that's what I'm talking about. That the first computer. Well, that's not really true. The first um, MS DOS computer I ever put together was a 386, and I remember I got the uh, 20 megahertz. That's right, 20 megahertz.
Oh, banging.
The upgraded 386, and it was smoking fast. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we were almost 100% text back then. You know,
Yep.
rendering pictures was just not happening. Maybe some cartoon pixelated things
Mm-hmm.
and stick figures. But
Yeah.
that was if you wanted to play a game, that's what you played with. And monitors, we had color monitors. They came in two different colors, amber or green. So, yes, you could have amber letters on your computer, or you could have green letters on your computer. Some monitors even allowed you to switch between amber and green.
Ooh.
They were about $50 more, and you paid $3,000 for this,
Yep.
and that's if you built it yourself. Now you build something yourself, you save about $10. You literally only save about $10. Building your own computer does not make any sense. Most people don't
It used
go
to
into
make
the.
sense.
It used to make sense,
It
but it
used
doesn't
like
anymore.
yeah.
Now, and the other thing is, there is so much technical information about every component and what it will behave well with, uh, that it's very hard to know that without devoting your life to it. I
Yeah.
mean, ask Harry sometime.
Or hammer.
Yeah, or Hammer. Yeah, real computer experts.
So before we get into, I've got a few news things, but before we get into that, I just wanted to make a bit of an observation
Sure.
about the things that I've noticed
Hmm.
in regards to the reaction to all of the policies regarding this wonderful COVID situation that we're all in.
And we're going to be very careful here, aren't
And we
we?
are going to be very careful.
Because we don't want to lose our channel.
No.
Okay.
So I've noticed that there's a lot of like we've been dividing ourselves as a society for a long, like, pretty much the last decade.
Yeah.
It's stopped being about, let's get better as a collective group of people, and now it's you suck. No, you suck. And this whole thing has just made it worse.
Right.
And
We don't disagree anymore. It's all out war.
yeah, there's no,
I hear
there's,
you.
yeah. And along with that division and just overreaction to a disagreement, we also have a fair amount of projection going on. So
You think?
we've got and it's getting to the point where we've got people who used to be like not even like I would not even friends, but at least civil
Mm-hmm.
to each other from different nations, now just, oh well, your whole country is shit because of this policy that's being implemented. Oh look, it's also being implemented in my country, but we're not going to talk about that. It's just your country that's crap.
Well, the fracture
It,
lines are really pretty ominous if you look like it. If you look at it, I
yeah.
mean, if you take the Chinese America fracture.
Mm-hmm.
And look who's on China's side: Indonesia, Vietnam, who hates China and
Mm-hmm.
is hated by China, but the enemy of my enemy,
Yep.
blah blah blah. And then you have uh, the Malaysian people are beginning to mobilize
Mm-hmm.
and kind of turning into a little bit of an Indonesia. It's kind of like Indonesia without the Islam.
Yeah.
And then uh, so there's that fracture line. Then there's the European fracture line because there, a lot of Americans were for Brexit, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that alienated everybody in the EU, at least the controlling elites in the EU. And people think the United States is controlled by elites. Holy shit! That the Europe, the EU says, "Hold my uh, uh,
Hold
beer,
my cognac.
hold my cognac." Exactly. They are completely dominated by an elite class that it simply really believes that they are better than the the struggling peasants. They don't even care who comprises the peasants as long as they can keep them in their place. That and Yeah, and they're changing the character of their countries completely.
Well, and that's what and that's what I'm saying is like we've got every country right now is like every let's just say every developed nation right now is putting in policies that some of them are going to help and like make like try to make things more back to normal, and some of them are absolutely insane, right? Every country right
Yep.
now is implementing at least one policy that makes no sense.
Yeah,
And
there's
the
absolutely.
and the amount of shit that people from separate countries are throwing at each other about how terrible each other's country is, meanwhile not looking at what the hell is going on in their own country, is mind-boggling to me.
Yes.
It is absolutely like it's completely stick your head in the sand, pretend everything is fine, and or at least like maybe not pretend everything is fine, but drastically mitigate what's going on in my own country just to make myself feel a tiny bit better because I'm going to tell someone else that where they're living is absolute crap.
Mm.
Meanwhile, it ain't much better where I am. Yeah,
Well, yeah, the
like,
United States is just as guilty of what you just described as anybody
oh
else.
yeah,
We do the same thing, and the national delusion in the United States is that we don't.
go get an apple then. Then you're, I don't know what to say, buddy. Mommy, I'm hungry. Go
Yeah,
get an
life is
apple.
life is hard. Eat
I,
an apple or don't eat an apple.
I'm,
Decide how hungry you are.
I want to, I don't want to go upstairs on my own. Well, I don't know what to tell you, dude.
Yeah, it's just the way things work, hon.
No, you're not done cleaning up the playroom.
It's so hard being a child.
Right?
You know what you want to do, and you try and understand the rules. They just don't make any sense. Clean my room? What? That's mommy's job.
Yeah, it eventually ends up becoming that.
Yes, it does, and that's part of it. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know what to
Like
tell you.
it's so frustrating to see this like division of where we could all basically come together and go, "Hey, wait a minute. Your leader's doing this too? What the
Yeah.
hell?"
Now, I will say that the United States currently has a quote unquote executive leader, um, Joe Biden, who he's not cognitively all there. I mean, that hectoring, angry speech he gave about what a great job he did and how hard it was to get out of Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the Americans who are being hung from helicopters and so forth and
Mm.
so on. Uh, they didn't want to leave anyway. They chose to be hanged.
Oh yeah. What about a banana, buddy? There's bananas. Well, get the banana and then I'll peel it and you can throw out the peel and eat the banana, okay? Not yet because I have to cut the leaves off and Mummy's in the middle of her show, so she can't exactly go and cut strawberries. But you can have a banana if you'd like.
Welcome to Fundamentals of Kid Negotiation 101.
You really don't want one. Well, then you're running out of
Don't know what to tell you.
dude. Yeah, you're running out of options.
Yeah.
Or
Gunfox.
you can grab the step stool and grab the pretzels.
Gunfox says that Biden is a puppet. And I think he may have started out that way, but now he's kind of turned into Chucky. He's starting to do really evil and bad things, and I would start with that speech. That was just hateful. I was listening to the families who talked with him, the families of the fallen Marines and sailor and army guy. He met with. They said he talked about his son the whole time. He wouldn't look any of them in the eye. This is the opposite of leadership, and the cretins he has.
Was
For
this the
Secretary of
speech?
State.
Was this the speech where he checked his watch?
Yeah. Yes. And the thing is, they only caught him in one photograph. He checked his watch like 7 or 8 times, according to many, many people. He just kept checking his watch. Now, I'm sure that's just a nervous, lifelong habit of somebody who's, losing their cognitive faculties. And then he gets up and he's angry that people are critical because he doomed a bunch of Americans to be tortured and killed. I can't even. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, there's
not another side to that.
No, there's not. And we've got a leader up here and we'll get
dancing boy.
We'll get into some news in a minute, but we've got a leader up. While Pinkala was setting up all the sources and stuff, we were watching a video of a rally that Trudeau held.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't know how many times in that rally he was like trying to make himself sound like this stern, angry man and claiming that the conservative leader Aaron O'Toole was anti-vax, which is not what he is. He's anti-mandate. But he kept just, shame on you, Aaron O'Toole. Shame on,
But you got to admit, Trudeau kind of knows how to play the Canadian people, particularly the Eastern Liberals.
He does, and it's scary if you look at the platform, the website where the platform is posted.
Yeah.
And the New Democrats have done the same thing that the Liberals have. They've got these links for each section of their plan. So they're under links. And then you click on each link and you've got like a catchy little heading and then a learn more button. And if you click the learn more button, you're, given this wall of word salad.
Right. Wall of text.
And so what they're doing is they're banking on the conscientious Canadian who wants to be educated and wants to know like what to vote for, but doesn't necessarily have the time to read that wall of text.
So they read this very general thing, like he says something like, "Let's put Canadians' health and safety first. Let's
Yes.
build more homes for the middle class, and put a stop to profiteering and unfair speculation. Let's support women and families and
Yes.
give every child the best possible start with $10 a day childcare. Let's fight climate change and leave a safe and healthy environment for our children and grandchildren. Let's keep moving forward on real reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. Let's come together to fight systemic racism. Let's find the real solutions to the real problems we face," because I really like the word real and I want to use it some more in this sentence. Real, 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 real. Let's build a better future that gives everyone a real and fair chance at success. God, did an eighth grader write this? Jesus Christ. I'm reading this off the Liberal Party's
Yep.
platform thing. "We can't afford to move backward, not in a fight against COVID-19 or the climate crisis, not on healthcare or childcare, not for seniors, workers, or families. This is our moment to decide where our country goes from here. This is our time to choose, and this platform is our path ahead for generations to come." Good
And
Christ.
then,
And then he's got finishing the fight against COVID-19,
yeah.
a home for everyone, better health care for everyone, a more resilient economy, candy for everybody, heroin for everybody.
But do you see how he's
It
got
just
these
goes-
little headlines that
Oh, yes.
and then there's the learn more. Nobody's going to click that learn more button because they don't have the time. So they look at those little blurbs and they're like, "Oh, I like the sound of that."
a home for everyone.
Well, everyone wants a home, right?
Better health care
But
for
everybody
everyone.
wants better health care.
A more resilient economy.
Everybody wants that.
A cleaner, greener future. And
Like,
reconciliation.
And then when you look at the like when you actually, can I help you, sir?
Like
Go
better
finish
health care
cleaning.
for everyone. If you
No,
click under
here's a
that,
hug.
it says support to hire 7,500
No, go
doctors and nurses.
Go clean.
Okay. 7,500 doctors and nurses. Now, doctors earn about $200,000 a year. Nurses earn about $100,000 a year. So let's say we'll go with the low number, $100,000 times 7,500.
And that's just their salary after their schooling.
Oh, you know, you have no idea the I'll tell you just to start, just to get in that game, the raw salary if it was just 7,500 nurses is about $750 million.
Yep.
So let's call it a cool billion because there's a lower percentage of doctors, but they do earn more. So let's say you've got $1 billion there, but that you have to equip those people.
Mm-hmm.
And for every doctor, you're probably going to have $100,000 to $500,000 worth of equipment and services per annum.
Yep.
I want you to think about that for a minute. You are talking about many, many billions of dollars to hire 7,500 doctors and nurses and equip them to do their job. Then that's only the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Better care and long-term health care. Well, long-term care, I used to work in the insurance industry. We had a long-term care policy that we used to call that the money pump.
Mm-hmm.
Because you sell nothing, you're basically selling nothing for something, and because the fulfillment side of that is very skinny, very little benefits lurk beneath the piles and piles of text that the lawyers put in. So better care in long-term care that's just an infinite money pit. The reason they're
Yep.
so careful in those long-term care policies is because they know how much you can spend on long-term care. That's why they don't cover. That's why those long-term care policies don't cover anything. Work to hire 50,000 PSWs and raise their wages to $25 an hour because printing press
Oh,
goes
stop.
burr. And then publicly accessible mental health care. Yeah, can we start with the politicians, please? Can we
Yeah,
start with the
well,
Liberal Party and
now
get them to face reality?
and all of these things that he keeps talking about, dude, go clean the playroom. You're not getting out of this.
And then they have the non-specific stuff like action to address the opioid crisis.
But
That's a feel-good, meaningless thing.
but all of this stuff about like healthcare and everything. Healthcare is a provincial thing.
Yes.
Mental health is like all of this shit is provincial. What they should like does the healthcare system need a bit of tweaking? Yeah. Okay. But to nationalize it, fuck no. I don't want to nationalized
You're going to
healthcare.
be looking at Britain.
Mm-hmm.
Best case scenario, looking at Britain, you don't actually have the resource base to do it as well as Britain does. Britain at least has enough people that they tax the living shit out of. You know, they don't use their money wisely once they get the tax receipts, but that's a different problem. But they at least can fund their health organization better than your tax base is going to be able to provide you because your taxes aren't high enough and you don't have enough people.
Yeah. And the other and then Trudeau had a rally on Saturday
Good
planned.
God.
So he had a planned rally in, I think it was Brampton, like one of the Toronto suburbs. And he ran away and packed up because there were protesters at his rally booing him,
Mm.
and they were a health and safety risk because he said that they were anti-vaxxers
Sure.
and that they were a health and safety risk, and then he started saying that they were a conservative ploy.
To
Because
infect the
because
liberals
nobody,
with
because
COVID.
God forbid, no right-minded Canadian actually thinks Trudeau is bad, and no like actual voting constituent would show up to protest. It must have been a conservative
Oh
plant.
yeah, I mean, any Trudeau. I've watched him do this for a while now. He tends to divert criticism of himself, by saying, "Don't you love Canada? Don't you love your country? I am Canada.
Yeah,
Fuck you for Christmas. You are not. You're a piece of shit, human garbage uh, placeholder that who has an attractive enough face and namby-pamby sounding liberal politics where you get enough of Eastern Canada to vote for you, and you make the the rational part of Canada want to fucking succeed. I
well, and
got no patience for this
what's
asshole.
really really frustrating is that there's a lot of people in the eastern part of Canada that are rational, but the motherfuckers in Toronto and Ottawa and Montreal
They're just too numerous.
ruin it for the rest of us.
Right, right. And
Like the
and
people in northern Ontario or the people in, rural Ontario are like, this is fucking stupid. And all the idiots in the cities are like, no, socialize everything.
yeah,
It's
we
like,
want free stuff. Benjamin Franklin in this country said that as soon as the people realize they can vote themselves money, that will herald the end of the republic.
yep.
And you kind of wonder where this is going to stop. Somebody has got to stand up and say, "I'm going to be an adult," because your prime minister is not an adult man. He's not a mature man.
No,
He
he's
is an
not.
immature child who got old but did not grow.
He would be your definition of what is it called? Peter Pan syndrome?
Yeah, Peter Pan syndrome. Absolutely. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. Yeah. Yeah, he's sort of slimy piece of garbage. And he's such a liar. I mean, that's the only thing he does well is lie.
Yeah.
And he prevaricates with the very best. I mean, he lies like Nancy Pelosi lies.
And honestly, he lies in both languages, but the minute he switches to French,
Oh, yeah.
just expect everything to be a lie. Because that man, I swear to Christ, because it's his first language, he can just. I think that's partially why he says so much when he's speaking English.
Mm-hmm.
Because
C'est un menteur tout le temps, n'est-ce
he's
pas?
speaking in French.
Yeah.
He's thinking in French in his head, I think.
Right.
And and when he speaks French, his speech flows and he doesn't stop and stutter. Yeah. But in English, he stops and stutters all the time. But in French, he's like bang, 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 and you can guarantee. Like, I was standing there last night listening to, because my French, because I'm not with my family up in Quebec, my conversational French is crap right now.
Yeah.
But you put me in front of, you let me listen to people speaking French, and I will be able to understand what they're saying.
So if I say il est un menteur, you understand that I just said he's a liar.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
tout le temps.
all the time. All the time. All the time. And the minute he lapses into French, and the easier he lapses into French, if he starts going between English and French very easily, you're like, he doesn't repeat what he said, because usually what you're supposed to do as a politician is, make your speeches bilingual. So you'd usually say something in English, and then you'd say the same thing that you said in English in French.
Yep.
Right? What Trudeau does is he says one thing in English, and then he says something else in French that is about the same topic as what he was talking about in English, but it is not anywhere close to what he said. Like, it's not a translation.
Yep.
It is a tangent in a different language. It's very subtle.
Well,
but
French, and especially Quebecois, expresses a lot of things by idiom.
Yeah.
And that's,
but he doesn't even do the idiom.
Well, yeah.
It's just a completely tangential, it may
he literally says something different. So
yeah,
he's not just using an idiom or using an expression, simile, or something like that.
No, he'll still be talking about vaccines, but he will not even be attempting, even idiomatically, to translate what he said in one language to the other.
He probably believes that he has a friendlier audience in French
than
he does in English. So he has to speak in English to a more mixed audience where there is real unfriendliness out there, and it makes him a little bit defensive. That may be the stutter that he has in English, whereas he feels comfortable. I'm with my people, my French people.
Yeah, I think he might be right on that.
So that's part of it.
And the other thing I've noticed is, depending on the region he's in, his French accent changes.
What?
Yeah. Depending on the French-speaking region he's in, he tries to blend his accent into that local type kind of sound.
I did not know that. I'm not surprised. Weird. I'm not surprised. It surprises me not at all, but it's interesting. Huh.
If he's up in northern Quebec, he's got a very twangy
rural.
Yeah.
You're down home with the folks.
Yeah.
We all tighter patch kin down here, like I talk when I'm in Southern Alabama.
Yeah, it would be like, it would be like freaking Donald Trump. Why is somebody calling me? I don't know that number. Go away.
Yeah.
Um, it
We
would
have
be
a
like,
great opportunity for you.
yeah, or a lot of my blind friends in the States get calls, telling them that they've got a deal on their car insurance, and my blind friends are like, "Oh, really?
I'll jump on that shit."
Um,
It's for a Tesla, right?
yeah. So, but like it's so, it would be like Donald Trump in his rallies, speaking his like normally the way he always does when he's in New York, and then going down to Georgia and speaking with a Georgian accent.
So like Hillary Clinton used to do.
Yes.
I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
Or like when AOC went all like weird and ghetto that one speech.
Ghetto one speech and Hispanic,
and Hispanic the other yeah, like that's what Trudeau does with French people. He's like, "Oh, am I in Chicoutimi? Oh, I better have this ridiculous twang in my voice. Am I in Sudbury? Oh, I better speak like this now." Like, it's so
AOC,
stupid.
who claims that she was raised in Queens, but was actually raised in upscale. I think it was Westchester, New York, very upscale suburb of New York City. Jeez. Yeah, it's just as phony, and it's trying to accomplish the same thing. The interesting thing is, so many more people have access to such good quality of information so fast. I mean, we can see her doing things like that, and people can say, or see Trudeau doing things like that, and say this is phony, this is bullshit, and I think that augurs well for us.
Piccolo does have a good point. He says, he picks up the dialect that is common occurrence in any language, and it's true. Like, especially if you're good with languages, if you are like when I was in university doing my Spanish lectures, and they were like 3 hours long, right? I would get out of class and call Pincalo, and he'd be like, "You just had Spanish, didn't you?" Because I had a Spanish accent, right? But like, it feels more forced with some people. Like, it feels like they're actually, like in Trudeau's case, it feels like he's pushing it more than like just I'm just hanging out with these people and now I've picked up their accent. It feels like he's forcing.
I'm one of you.
Go clean up the playroom.
They're trying to beat you.
No! Stop trying to get out of doing your job.
That's my cuddling you.
But I love you, Mommy.
I love you very much. You need to
now
stop trying to get out of doing what you were told to do. Okay? Do you understand? Okay, off you go.
You need to be storing these memories away, Blind Press, because when they get to be about 10 or 11 years old and they start to get independent.
I can still hear you. I know you're still in the doorway. Go clean up the playroom.
They're about 10 or 11, you realize you're losing them.
Yep.
And you spend the next 5 or 6 years losing them. It really is an evolution. So store up these memories. I know you think it'll never end, but it will. And it will both break your heart and make you proud.
So this article, no arrests or charges laid against protesters at Trudeau campaign event. Gee, I'm shocked.
Protesters in Cambridge shouted obscenities, uttered death threats at Liberal leader on Sunday.
Alex, please stop playing with the washing machine and go clean up the playroom. Oh, God. So this says, Protesters gathered as. So this is here we go. The Waterloo Regional Police Service says no one has been arrested or charged in connection to a protest outside the campaign rally
Event.
for the campaign event for the Liberals in Cambridge, Ontario. Liberal leader Justin Trudeau was forced to delay his appearance by an hour on Sunday. Why? Because people were mad at you when they were yelling?
Due to the protests.
No.
Yes, people shouted obscenities and uttered death threats against Trudeau and hurled racist and misogynist insults at people of color and women in his protective detail. Of course they did.
I'm sure they did. Regional police estimate between 150 to 200 people showed up to protest. During the protest, an individual was removed for trespassing. However, no arrests or charges relating in connection to the incident, said police. So they walked onto the property and didn't leave, so they got charged for trespass. That's fine. Or not charged, but Pincalo says, I'm about to drive to Cambridge right now.
Tell him not to shout obscenities at Trudeau.
Or death threats.
Or death threats, or racist and misogynist slogans at women and people of color, or women of color, or non-binary of color.
Yes.
And regular non-binaries.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, let's see. An angry crowd of protesters delayed a campaign stop for Liberal leader Justin Trudeau in Ontario days after. Oh my god. So this keeps happening. People keep showing up to protest and he keeps delaying or running away. Days after a rally was cancelled over security concerns, disagreements, and the campaign trail aren't uncommon, but political watchers say these events have reached a new level of nastiness.
It's not the people who shake their fist and call him names that he really has to worry about.
Nope.
It's the crazy guy who thinks they can do Canada a solid by killing a politician.
Mm-hmm.
That's what scares me, because I don't want anybody to be killed.
No.
Not over politics.
No.
That has no place. That's where there are far right and far left elements in the United States who believe that's the only way to affect change, and that is just heartbreaking to see. I've got no truck with that, and nobody should. That everyone should just eschew that and just throw it in the garbage. But when a guy has acted that irresponsible for so long, what happens is the number of people in those margins of crazy gets larger.
Yeah.
And it's a numbers game. And pretty soon you have a whack job who wants to have a go at the president or the prime minister, and bad things can happen. They're so much better at security now than they used to be.
Yeah.
It is a lot harder. On the other hand,
and
someone
Canada,
with.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say a suicidal person, a person who's willing to take themselves out. We've seen it in other countries. I would hate to see it in Canada or the United States.
Yeah.
We could use a little more responsible leader choosing and leader behavior in both countries, frankly.
And Canada doesn't have a prime minister right now who could punch out his assassin.
No, he Dancing Boy could never defend himself against anything.
He could never pull a Katya.
Yeah.
Never.
Here, have a right cross.
Oh, you're trying to hurt me? Here, let me
Let me help you.
Before his security detail got any, you're just bam.
Yeah. Excellent.
And this guy was he had I think it was a stroke
Yeah.
before he became prime minister.
Yep.
Actually, one of the things that got him elected was the Conservatives I think it was under Kim Campbell or Brian Mulroney, put out an attack ad. And I've actually seen this ad in my politics class. It shows his face, because he had you could tell that he had a stroke. Right?
Yeah.
You could see it. And there's actually a thing that says, do you want a guy that looks like this as your prime minister?
As your prime minister, yeah.
And everyone and the voting public went like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? And basically voted it was like, you know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
The answer
now that you mention
yes.
it.
I believe I'll have one of those.
Just because you're being a dick.
Oh,
yeah. We do want to vote for him.
Hey, slightly different tack on all this. What do you think about the vaccine passports? And Susan, we think they're a great idea.
I know Trudeau's a boxer, but I just can't see him actually. I just can't see him act. I see him calling himself a boxer because he boxed against punching back. I could see him having some training as a boxer.
Yeah, he worked out on a heavy bag. Big deal.
But I cannot see him actually winning.
He doesn't have a pug's
boxing
face.
Match.
He doesn't have a pug's face. Pug's face. Pugilists get beat up.
Yeah,
their faces reflect their occupation.
Trudeau
is a boxer. I honestly, I think Jake Paul could call himself more of a boxer than Trudeau.
Jake Paul would take Trudeau in a heartbeat.
And I hate that. I hate the fact
we all hate the Paul.
Jake Paul makes me so angry, and so does his brother. But I swear to God, Trudeau has less of is less of a boxer than Jake Paul is at this point.
Jake Paul is just a charlatan and a showman, nothing more.
Yeah.
Those aren't real boxing matches. The people he's fighting.
Oh, dude, he actually has. Oh, Pincalo's correcting me, which is not unheard of because I'm often wrong. But he actually has some some wins and losses. He has a win against another politician that.
But not against professional boxers. He's not a professional boxer. Really. He might box and do it recreationally, but I don't think his pro career never went anywhere.
So you were asking what I thought about the vaccine.
The vaccine passport, which is a great, fantastic idea, Susan.
So this is a weird one because as somebody who was affected by an actual anti-vaxxer,
yes,
and people who are worried about, having a choice taken away from them are not anti-vaxxers. They're just worried about losing that choice. And I really hate that people who are concerned about the choice being taken away from them are being lumped into the same category as don't take the vaccines, they're going to kill you people. You know, that really bothers me.
Do you see the parallel thing that's going on with vaccine passports? That's an excuse to control people.
I can see
it can be misused that way.
I can see absolutely how it can be misused that way. I can see both sides of it because if we want to get herd immunity, we have the technology now that we can keep track of that.
Yep.
Right? And we can keep track of that fairly easily. However, it can also be used as a cudgel to be like, well, if you want to do normal everyday things, then you have to do this thing.
Yeah. Well,
And
Gunny points out that Oregon is forcing people to get the jab or basically leave the state. Now, what he's talking about is they're permitting, restrictions. They're permitting businesses and, of course, government run agencies and activities in Oregon to prohibit people who can't show proof that they have been vaccinated. I think that will maybe have the effect of having people move to Eastern Oregon, which is currently having a pretty significant movement wanting to secede from coastal Oregon and become part of Idaho. I shit you not. But that aside, I see I see the horns of this dilemma, and there really are two sides to this, and that's why people are having so much trouble with it. Brenda and I both got vaccinated.
yeah,
We both got the vax. We're older. We're nearly 70, and uh, so with our comorbidity, that mitigates things for us to a certain extent, and just all we're trying to do. We're both in good health, but and we tolerated the vax very, very easily.
yeah,
And I've got enough of a background in microbiology and biochemistry to know what's going on. I feel comfortable with it. Many people do not. This is a big black box and it's scary as hell. And people have irresponsibly, in my opinion, done fear mongering
mm-hmm.
on one side and also irresponsibly have done it's no big deal way
On
too
the
much
other
on the other side.
Yeah,
And what we needed was a calm discussion of factual uh, of what the facts are, and an admission that it's this kind of a vaccine is going to affect lots of people very differently. Some will tolerate it well, others will not. But instead, we have one side saying it's absolutely no problem. Everybody tolerates it perfectly. Should be no big deal, and we won't let you go out to eat or go into a public building without
and
proof of vax. And the other side says, no, 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 never going to get a vax. It's communist. They're trying to control us. They're turning us into the proletariat automatons.
yeah.
And neither side is really right.
No,
Not all the way.
and just say, like, for anybody to say that everyone will tolerate any vaccine
It's just
perfectly
dumb.
is retarded. Like,
Yes.
you can't say that. That's why
Actually, I
if-
can't say retarded.
if there's that's why you need to here's a crazy thought. Talk to your doctor if you are concerned about any effects.
You mean get facts? Why?
Yeah, and on the vast majority, the side effects of the vaccine are going to be far less than the
Uh,
the effects of
Contracting the virus.
contracting. Like, I would rather have my kid have a bit of a fever and be cranky for a couple of days than
Yep.
have whooping cough
Yep.
or polio or all the other horrible diseases that we don't have to deal with right now because
When people overreact to the reaction,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like my second jab, I felt pretty sick for several hours. I felt like I had like a little mini case of the flu. I had the chills,
Mhm.
felt like I had a fever, and all I wanted to do was lie down. But it passed very quickly. And I know that's happening to a lot of people, and they're going in and saying, I had the flu for 2 weeks. It becomes that in their mind,
Yeah.
and people's desire for attention and so forth and so on. Not like us who get on YouTube and rant and rave for an hour, but we don't want attention.
No. So this story here is about what's going to be announced. It's actually probably going to start in the next 10 minutes or so. Ford is doing an announcement today, and sources have told the news that we will be announcing a vaccine passport for Ontario. Now,
Wow.
the way that this is looking is that it's not going to be like forever. Like if you want to go retail shopping, it's not going to be included in that. But it looks like it's going to be for. We can. It's a short story, so I'll just read it. So it says Toronto's proof of vaccines will be required to access non-essential businesses in Ontario, including gyms, indoor restaurants, movie theaters, and concert halls under the province's new vaccine certification program. Starting September 22nd, sources confirm to CTV News Toronto. Yes, sir.
It says government sources said on Wednesday morning that Ontario residents would not need the certificate for retail shopping, banks, essential services, workplaces, or outdoor patios. However, a vaccine certificate will be needed to visit indoor food and drink establishments, casinos and bingo halls, concert venues, theaters and cinemas, sporting facilities, and sporting events. Sources said, but the casinos love that. Excuse me.
So
the vaccine certificate rules will not apply to children under the age of 12 and people with medical exemptions. Just want to get that in there.
Yeah. So, but it looks like they're trying to target places that have traditionally larger capacities.
Large indoor capacity.
And like where there's worry of like contamination and stuff, like
Sure.
like food, eating, or gym, like where you're sweating and
Gyms
puffing.
Gyms are just some of the most bacteria-laden places on Earth.
Like, and like movie theaters and concert halls where there's tons of people packed in together. And so it goes on here. So it says, let's see. Where are we here?
While you're doing that, I want to say hello to Bub Elvis, who I've not seen in chat before. Bub Elvis is from the Netherlands. So you're kind of a homie with me, Bub Elvis, having grown up in Belgium. I was not too far from Flanders. Used to go to practically every city in the Netherlands. We spent a lot of time going up there. It's a beautiful place.
Well, welcome.
Nice to see you.
This says the vaccine certificate would be used alongside a government-issued ID. The government is working on an app that would combine the ID and the vaccine certification. I would rather... so it says which users can show if asked for proof. So I would rather, instead of an app, that they allowed like a downloadable, you know how you can save like passes to like your Google Wallet or your Apple Wallet, something like. I would rather that type of thing, so that you don't have to put like an extra app on your phone. I would rather they just have this like like you get an email and it says, click here to add this to your wallet. And then you would click that, and then it would be put into your Apple or your Google Wallet. And anytime you would need to show proof, you could just open your Google Wallet instead of, downloading this extra third-party app with who knows what else kind of tracking stuff is in there. All you should have is something to put into your electronic wallet that you could carry. And they should also send out a physical card for people who are like seniors or whatever who may not have a smartphone, or homeless people who may not have a smartphone, or what I mean? Like they should have both. So it says the information will be embedded into a personalized QR code, and on October 22nd, the sources confirmed, which would allow vaccinated individuals to use their smartphone to display their vaccine status without sharing any personal health information. So, like I said, if they can find a way to put this QR code into the phone, like the wallet app,
Yeah.
I would be okay with that. Um, because, like I said, this seems like it's for a more high capacity areas that are already dealing with more contamination. But I also do see where this can be misused. Like, I can see both sides of this. I really can. Like,
Yep.
I can see where people are concerned about their choices being taken from them. And I can also see where, we need to reach herd immunity, and I wouldn't be against having like a QR code for your childhood vaccines that you could that a parent could have for their kid. That would make things easier for schools. They wouldn't have to ask for paperwork all the time. Like, you wouldn't have to give out forms with your vaccines or whatever. You could just be like, yep, first day of school in kindergarten. Oh, does my kid have all his vaccines? Here, let me open up my phone. Boop. Yep, there you go. He's got all his vaccines and it's in the system. Because that's the other thing that everyone is, for some reason, not thinking about. Is we already have mandatory vaccines. Right?
Yes. Yes.
If you want your kids to go to public school, you have to have them vaccinated. If you want your kids to go to public childcare in a center, right? Like, not in home-based childcare, but if you want your kids to go to a licensed center for daycare, you have to have them vaccinated. If you want to go to the Caribbean, what are the, like, if you're traveling outside of the country, what do you have to do before you go? Get vaccinated.
Right. Yeah,
like, why is
you better.
Like, I don't, like, I remember in grade 1, they set up a vaccine clinic in the gym for all the first graders to go get their MMR boosters.
Sure.
And that was normal across the province in the meningitis scare in 98. Again,
I'm old enough to remember I had to have the Salk live virus vaccine against polio because the Sabin vaccine had not been approved by the military. And we were overseas. We were in Belgium.
Right.
And we went over to the MAG, the Military Aid and Assistance Group, which was the only military activity the United States had in Europe. My dad was actually with a NGO, even though he was a major in the Air Force, or captain in the Air Force. But
yeah,
anyway, we
love you too.
we got that vaccine, and I'm going to tell you that first of all, they give it to you in your skinny little kid arm, and it hurts like a mother. I mean, it just brought tears to your eyes.
And you still have like a dent or a scar.
I still
right?
do. I have I totally have what they used to call the Salk scar.
Yeah.
And I have it today.
My grandparents have it.
Yep. It's but that ended polio. That fucking ended it basically in the United States. The last people, there are like 10 people in the United States still on iron lungs. They've survived all these years. One of whom lives here in the metro area, here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and he's he's actually an attorney who's written books, and he's lived his entire life in this iron lung.
Damn.
Yeah, damn right. And he can get out for brief periods to like go to the bathroom and take a shower, and then he has to get right back in flat on his back. The guy passed the bar exam that way. Once you think
Jesus.
about that, yeah, that's impressive. So, yeah, you know, when
Well,
I hear
that's
about the snowflakes and all their troubles, I think of guys like that and think of people who had real challenges. It just makes I don't know why I'm digressing into that, but anyway, I do agree that people have more important things to worry about than the vax. I don't. I think they're too afraid of it. There are some real risks, but to certain people, but by and large, I think they're overreacting to it.
yeah.
And for my own calculus is that it was the right thing to do based on our age and possible comorbidities. I don't know. Well, we beat the hell out of an hour here,
We
Blind
did.
Press.
We sure did. Um, and Pincalo's cat is trying to kill himself. What are you doing, Ninja? Yeah, well, don't do that.
Ritual cat seppuku.
he's he's getting up. He's like 15 years old, so he's not as nimble as he used to be. He's also like 22 pounds.
Yeah.
So he is ninja who is not so ninja. Um, but yes, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. Remember to catch me tonight on Twitch for Beat the Blind Girl, and also come back Friday for another coffee stream, and I'll be DMing Ghost Dog's Trek topic to the group for us to look at. It's a link that we need to that we're gonna. Oh
Yeah.
shit! I'll be at the cottage on Saturday, so I just realized
Yeah, we're not doing a
we
Star
won't
Trek
be
stream.
doing because it's Labor Day weekend. So
Right. I couldn't
but
do it anyway. It's going to be a madhouse around.
yeah. So no Star Trek stream this Saturday, but next week you're not going to want to miss Wednesday because it's Canadian Wednesday, and there will be I think the English debate for the federal election is coming up next week. So you're not going to want to miss Functional and I playing the debate drinking game.
Oh boy.
Oh God.
That should be exciting.
I'm terrified. I'm glad my kids go back to school next week because I have a feeling I might need to the next
Functional's
day.
a great guest for you. Guys,
He
seriously,
is.
you should tune in because Functional and Blind Press are a scream. I usually am doing chores, so I'm not too active in chat, but I always tune it in and hit that like, share, and subscribe, guys. And don't forget, I do a Tuesday show on
Yep.
Minions of the Zoo, and I will be on with Harry on Saturday night.
That's right. And
That's-
also, guys, I know that people have been shying away from using Patreon and stuff because of their terms of service and everything, and OnlyFans has a bit of a stigma, but Streamlabs has just implemented a monthly tipping option. So if you would like to support the channel and the content I do across all the channels, and you have been trying to figure out a way to do that, if you want to do a monthly tip, it all goes to the PayPal. You don't have to worry about stupid terms of service and
Or Patreon taking 20%.
yeah, Patreon taking 20%. You don't have to worry about people going, why are you paying credit card payment to OnlyFans? Like it's just easier that way. So if
Yep.
that interests you, you can find the if it's under the donate button on the blindpress.net website, which is on the linktree, and just click the monthly tipping option instead of the one-time tipping option.
Support your content creators, people. It really makes a difference.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you guys have a good rest of your Wednesday. And again, to the people in the hurricane area, I hope everything is going okay for you guys, and the cleanup is not going to take I hope it won't take forever for you guys. So stay safe and in contact with those that love you. And I'll see you guys on Twitch tonight and back here on Friday. Bye, guys.
Goodbye, everybody.